Lijppoelreeks.
Spike planted.
Maar hopen dat het niet zoals de vorige keer eindigt.
Hoe is het de vorige keer geëindigd?
Healing 3.
Nou,
One enemy remaining.
4. My
Last
ult's ready.
player standing.
Why did you do this bullshit direct?
Okay. So it's mental health month. We all know the gist. We all know how much it can actually, be. We've all had moments in life where we wanted to give up, where we decided to push through even though the world made it impossible to. If you've seen the clip at the beginning, then, well, that's actually how I felt a few years ago. When I was around the end of 17, I felt untouchable. I mean, felt like I had nothing, or well, everything to lose, but I couldn't lose anything because I had such a high ego, everything. I had everything. Odds stacked against me, but I kept on overcoming those odds, It's hard to describe, but let's just say when I was 17, on Christmas, in 2023, I really felt untouchable. I had, a pretty successful time at school. I had a girlfriend, I had friends, an active friend group. I had everything that I always wanted. And then later, in the beginning of 2024, the odds were highly stacked against me. And that time, it felt like I couldn't push through. Not anymore. It was the first time that I actually broke. Not many people knew how I felt back then, in the beginning of 2024. Because at that moment, I had no girlfriend. My friends left me. I had a job that I hated. And worst of all, my dad passed away a month right after I turned 18. And you may ask, how did you deal with it? How did you sort of overcome it? Well, when I first started with, coping, it was not as easy as you think. Because in the beginning, the news felt absolutely crushing. I mean, of course it's crushing. Your dad passes away, he was a big figure in your life, and he just passes. And cherry on top, I was the last person to speak with him. And no, even though it feels like something you can, that gives you a sense of, I was the last person he talked to, the last person that maybe reassured him a little bit, that made him smile. I didn't really feel like that. I felt like the person that slowly was losing his mind because he felt like a failure for the way he was breaking and for the way that I started to act after his passing. Instead of being sarcastic, which is pretty wild for someone that's autistic, I became rough around the edges. I snapped easier. I became less social. I started to distance myself from my best friends, and I felt like I was becoming a creep, trying to find something that could feel stable. I lost people due to alcoholism and just being an idiot that was grieving and didn't know how to cope with it. But the biggest problem was not me becoming rough, not me searching for something stable. It was the alcohol. Every evening when I came home from work, I was drinking. Just not even gonna sugarcoat it. The first thing I grabbed was the bottle. Didn't matter what it was at the time, and it was empty by the time the clock hit 12 a.m. And it almost got to the point that I had to go to the hospital due to how much I was drinking. And that's something not even my mom knows. And that's also the first time I got a hangover, which I'm not really proud of. And after that day, I vowed to lessen the amount that I was drinking every evening. And it got to the point that I barely drink now. Because every time I drink, it brings back those specific memories, and it makes me stop. I just don't do it anymore. There are so many things in life that can drain your mental health. You don't, like, to a point that you don't know what to do anymore. And for us guys, it's hard to express ourselves because of how society is wired nowadays. Society is wired in a way that just says, if you're a man and you cry, you're weak and pathetic. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Because back in the 20th century, we're now in the 21st century. So we're talking about the 1940s, that type of shit. Men were always supposed to go to war. Women were always supposed to be at home with the kids. That's how it used to be. Well, nowadays in society, women are equal to men in many ways, which I really love. That's a big step up from back then. And I'm all for it. But some people just don't understand how it is to be a guy. To, like, struggle with everything. Because our brain is wired to try and find solutions to whatever, whenever, however. But what happens if we can't find a solution? We ponder. We think it's our fault that we didn't find the right solution to the problem. And we start feeling out of it. Almost as if something is shutting off. And then when you ask us, the most we'd say is, we're fine. Don't worry about it. It's nothing really. But it's always something. I mean, I used to tell everyone when my dad passed away that I'm doing fine. That there's nothing to worry about. While deep inside, I wanted to ask for help. I wanted to bawl my eyes out. And I assume most people watching this have had the same issue, but not with the same thing. For example, school stress for an exam on a subject that you've been, studying hard for, but never really truly understand. Or all the sleepless nights you've had because of that one person that keeps tormenting you. Or just because you feel lonely. I mean, it's something we all have a struggle with, And I'm just trying to say that asking for help isn't a bad thing. You're always allowed to ask for help. And, it's not easy to talk about this. Especially being a guy myself. Like, I've doubts about, making this video, talking about myself a little bit, just talking about the struggle that we as men share, like, throughout life, throughout the world. But you have to understand one thing. Some issues in life are like a shit stain in the toilet. They are one toilet brush away from being gone. But for some other things, that's not the same thing. They're like, how do I say this? A deep wound when you cut yourself with a knife by accident. And that wound takes a long time to heal. Sometimes it needs stitches. And sometimes, it gets infected, it becomes worse. But there's always a light at the end of every tunnel. There's always a light at the end of every tunnel. You shouldn't stress yourself too much trying hard to be the person that people want you to be. I'm telling you here, and I'm telling you now, be who you want to be. If you want to be the next Michael Jackson, give it a shot. Maybe you have the voice for it. If you want to be the next big thing on YouTube, give it a shot. if you want to be the next Albert Einstein, it's hard work, but you can get there. And if you choose to be who you want to be, and if you choose what you want to be, that's the biggest thing. Because being yourself is something no one else can take away from you. Not even a little bit. Sure, when you lose something, someone, something sentimental, something or someone that you have high memories with, it stings. It stings, it sucks, but there's nothing you can really do about it. Sure, you can try and find a replacement, but that's only going to be temporary and not really work. What you should do is focus on yourself. Focus on becoming a better person. Not for other people, but for yourself. And I'm not gonna say, you're a man, stop whining. I cried myself to sleep multiple times on multiple different occasions. Even if I had a good day, I can still cry myself to sleep, believe it or not. And no, that's not because that world is so cruel. No, that's because of my own stupid fucking thoughts. Life is like a sapling, you know? You plant it, well, it gets planted, it sprouts, the branches go all over the place. But at the end of the day, it's still gonna be a tree. But who is the one watering the tree? Who is the one helping the tree grow? Well, you are. Everything that happens in life happens with a reason. Everything that is gonna happen in life also still happens with a reason. But from my experience, I have been trying to please people for fuck knows how long. That's how I ended up, and that's, well, what I'm trying to not be anymore. You know, pleasing people, you know, sometimes when you're in a relationship or something, it's good to do something for your partner. It's good to do something for your parent. My bad. It's good to do something for your parents out of the own kindness of your heart. You know, that's making life easier for them so they don't have to stress about doing small chores in the house, or or your partner stressing about that one necklace or something, I don't know, gaming console that they want, that you just decide to get for them one day. You know, that's not that big of a deal. What is a big deal, though, is letting someone control your life. And letting someone tell you that you need to stop crying for once because you're a guy, and that you need to man up. What even is manning up at this point? Hiding your emotions? Like, society has made men look like some sort of way that they're whining if they decide to cry. Society has made men look like grown-up babies most of the time, when really all they want is to just be heard once. To just be in the moment. To be there in someone's arms and just cry for once. Because there's nothing worse than feeling left out emotionally. Sure, you can always have someone to talk to, but if they don't listen, then it feels like you're just there, talking to yourself. And sure, you know, there are always women out there, not trying to be sexist or something, but there are always women out there that say that men should just man up, not cry about anything, and suck it up like a good boy, so she can get more attention from a guy. And, you know, there are also women that put their men on the fucking internet sobbing their eyes out because, you know, they lost someone important. And that's the thing that disgusts me most of, like, the modern day. Why is it bad to be a guy? Why is it bad to show your emotions for once? Why is it bad to just have emotions as a guy and then be told that you're whining? Well, actually, that is pretty bad, but you get the gist. It's men have emotion, men plus emotions equals no. Men without emotions equals fucking war machine, do whatever. That's not how it works. We are humans. We deserve to feel just as much as anyone else. And because of the mentality of some people, and of course society as a whole, we are just being put as a label, as some thing that's just bothering society. I mean, in what dimension have you seen a guy not being pulled up by the police just because they happened to look at a woman for a second too long? In what universe have you seen a guy actually being defended of being the victim instead of the woman? Also, not trying to be sexist here, but that's how society is. If a woman gets touched inappropriately, then it's automatically a fact. If a man gets touched inappropriately, it's no biggie? Like, am I hearing you wrong, society? Like, what we doing? And if I, as a guy, like, walk up to a girl, for some reason I automatically feel like a creep. I can barely have a normal conversation with, like, a female co-worker without, like, having the mentality of, I'm gonna scare her off instantly, or I'm gonna be I feel weird. Like that type of shit. I just wanna feel normal, you know? In society. And I know I'm not. Definitely far from normal, actually. And that's the thing. As a man, you're just an assumption. When will he do it? It's not... Is he gonna do it? It's a probability he can do it. No, he will do it, but we just don't know when. And that's just something that stings. You automatically get put on a label that says, yo, you're gonna turn out to be a predator, bro. Have a nice day. When really, most aren't even that bad. Most guys. They just turn sour. They know that society doesn't like them. So they just opt to exist instead of living. And then when they finally meet the person that actually makes them feel like living, like that they're alive, that they have the right to exist and live, something happens that takes that feeling away instantly. Like, she cheats because she thinks she can do better. Or, I don't know, she fakes being in a relationship with him just to make him feel a little bit better about himself. Knowing damn well that he is out of her league. Or whatever the fuck. Because social standards, believe it or not, are very fucked up. And honestly, it fucks people up. Especially guys. And of course, you know, there are a lot of people, women especially, that have more brain capacity than some fat white chick on Instagram saying, all men should die, or like those blue-haired chicks that are acting emo as fuck while don't even knowing what the fuck emo even means. Saying, all men should kill themselves now, the woman would be way better with only females. But here's the thing. The most dangerous jobs are done by men. And I'm not saying that to be sexist. I'm stating that as a fact. Because there are guys, they go up like like a bullshit amount of height just to build a fucking skyscraper. There are men, you know, I don't fucking know, making sure that a nuclear reactor is staying stable. I don't see a woman doing that anytime soon. Not to be sexist again, but like, I keep saying that for some fucking reason, knowing that it's gonna be sexist in any way, shape, or form without the context. But like, you get what I mean. If a woman like does something dangerous as fuck, like building a skyscraper, hey, they get praised as fuck. But when a man almost loses his life trying to stabilize a nuclear reactor before that bullshit explodes, they get a pat on the back. I said, nice. Now do it again. And that's just society, I guess. Like, at this point, men's mental health, it's coming to like a point where most guys are like, you know what? I really just don't care at this point anymore. And they give up. And it's sad to see that. Because then they start doing shit that they're not supposed to. For example, alcoholism, being addicted to drugs or any substance at all, going to risk their lives trying to feel that sense of feeling again. Knowing damn well that's only going to be a short thrill. Just barely long enough. So they can feel alive. And that's how most men die. Heck, some just turn completely sour and go join the army because they have nothing else to do. Nowhere else to go. And that's just something that breaks me a little inside. Like, there are so many good people out there. So many people that genuinely try their hardest to change the world. Only to be changed by it. If you see my streams, highly doubt it. But for the people that have, you know a little bit how I'm, like, acting during my streams. That's how I naturally am. Not because I am, like, you know, sick of the YouTuber mentality, which I actually am. But because I'm just too damn tired every day, every morning, to be like, hey, I should make a video and mask my true self. I just really don't care about that, you know? If I want to feel down, let me just feel down. Heck, I can be angry when I make my videos. It's noticeable. But do I get... No, I actually do not care, like, in the slightest. People deserve to see the real version of people, not just, you know, whatever the fuck they feel like showing. I am encouraging you. Drop the mask. Drop the thing or the image of yourself that you think the world wants to see. Okay to be yourself. Okay to find out who you are. It's always okay to do that. Experiment with life. If you find something that works, keep doing that. If something doesn't work, learn from your mistake. Learn from whatever and however and what the fuck is that. Find your passion. If you have a hobby and you are fucking skilled with that, maybe consider doing that as a job. You know, I started doing YouTube not just because I was like, oh my god, I can upload cool videos to YouTube all my days. No, I started it with it purely because I saw how so many people were starting to do it, and I'm not doing it for the money. Honestly, I'm not. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it, and I just want to change the world. I want to give people a better view of life, actually, or at least a better view of a mentality. Believe it or not. Because having a mentality instead of no mentality is just equal to random bullshit go. And it doesn't really matter how much bullshit someone's going through in life. Just hear them out. Listen to them. If they talk about that they have been assaulted, just listen and always try to be there for them when they need you. Life isn't just you are there, you know you're there, but you're not willing to do anything about it. That's not life, man. That's prison. And school taught me, well, nothing about that, actually. I had to figure it out all on my own, with the help of my parents. So I'm teaching it now. If you feel like shit, talk about it. If you want to cry, you're allowed to cry, man. You really are. And not just because I'm telling you to do so, but because you have human rights. And humans have to fight. For one another, with one another, for themselves. I really think it's... I just can't hammer enough about it. You always have to just need someone to talk to. Even if it's just your mom, your grandparents, a therapist, or your best friend. There's always just gonna be someone there that loves you without any conditions, that is willing to listen to you yap about how you feel, about how your emotions have fucked you up, about how life has been trying to fuck you up without your consent. And I'm telling you this, never give up. Back down and give up is not a good option, man. And I'm talking from experience. If you have something you want to get off of your chest, I'll be reading my comments. I'll be reacting to your comments. And just know, I am not going to judge you if you have something you want to share, even if it's something deeply personal. I really don't mind it. I hope you have a nice day, afternoon, or evening. I hope you're doing okay. And I'm really hoping that from this yap session, you manage to just pick some things up, build your life, and yeah, become the person you're aiming to be. Have a good one.